Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, Dr. Haider Shah. On behalf of Calvas, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we have another very interesting topic, and I'm really honored to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest speaker, who is going to talk about importance of similarity index and publishing research in high index journals. Similarity index and publication in high impact journals plays a significant role in advancing scientific progress. We need to understand how to address the challenges of plagiarism and how to publish in high impact journal. So indeed a very interesting topic, and I'm sure in this session you will learn so many new things because we have an expert with us in today's this session. So stay tuned because in amazing stuff are coming ahead in this session. So before we start, I would like to thank Calvas for arranging such enlightenment sessions for the support and providing us such a wonderful platform. The aim of Calvas is to give you the opportunity to connect and interact with world-renowned speakers, academic leaders, teachers, authors, researchers, experts, professionals, and businessmen to learn from their experiences, recommendations, and suggestions, which will create an impact and will enable you to learn and develop yourself in order to grow and transform individually as well as to contribute to the world in a positive way. As our slogan is come, learn, and share knowledge. So today we have an amazing person as guest. We have invited him multiple times because we always receive a lot of requests to arrange sessions with him because he is one of the popular speaker on Khalwas, and he is kind enough that he always give his precious time and ready to share his knowledge. So let me introduce him formally for those who are joining for the first time. He is a graduate of Doctor in Public Administration from Ordanita City University, class of 2016, and graduate of second doctorate degree PhD in development education at the Central Luzon State University, Philippines, class of 2022. After obtaining his doctorate degree, he was promoted and designated to the position of Assistant Director, Extension Coordinator, and Associate Professor 5 of the Department of Research, Development, and Extension in the Philippines. Merchant Marine Academy, and this gave him the opportunity to work with the different international research institutions such as Director of ICSR Research Institute Malaysia, lecturer in the Graduate School, Columban College, and the President Roman Magsasaya State University, Zemblis. In addition to that, he was also appointed as the editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Multidisciplinary Applied Business and Education Research, Indonesia. In addition to that, as a researcher by heart, he is an external peer review in various international research journals and has been invited as a keynote resource speaker at various international conferences abroad at international universities around the globe. And moreover, he was named an outstanding alumnus of the Graduate School of Ordanita City University in 2019 and a multi-awarded international researcher, a global leader from 2020 to the present. Recently, he was appointed as the Ambassador at Large, Country Ambassador, and Director of the International Human Rights Movement Philippines under the umbrella of the United Nations. In addition to that, at present, he was appointed as Technical Research Evaluator by the Department of Science and Technology and has published more than 82 research articles and published 12 international books in Europe, Indonesia, and India. Last but not the least, he is a wonderful speaker, author, teacher, researcher, professional, and above everything, a great human being. So please help me in welcoming our guest, Prof. FROILAN MOBO. Welcome to the Calvas platform once again, and thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
So good evening, Dr. Haider. So thank you for inviting me again. For this, I think it's almost more than three things that you have invited me. So it's been a great opportunity for me to share my knowledge and skills in terms of uh, the research part. So with that, thank you very much. So mabuhay and good evening from the Republic of the Philippines. So thank you,
And
sir.
indeed, it's a pleasure to have you with us. And thank you very much for accepting our invitation again and again. And your knowledge is very important to be shared, and your experiences are valuable and you provide insights which are very good for the upcoming researchers as well. So thank you very much for giving your precious time. And now it's over to you, Prof. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, my task for tonight is, of course, importance of the similarity index and impact factor in the published research in highly indexed journals. So, as you all know, it's very important nowadays to check upon the reputability and reliability of a particular journal. So, before we submit our articles, we might be able to know how to identify them. So, part of it, one of the requirements of some peer-reviewed or reputable journal is, of course, is to check the similarity indexing. For example, indexes. If we're going to submit that in a highly scholarly journal, just like, for example, if that is indexed in a Duwaj, Scopus, or other higher ranking databases, it's very important to check it always, for example, using Turnitin. So part of that plagiarism check, of course, is we are able to know the similarity index if that paper is it increases more than the required number of percentage of a particular submitted article. And part of it, we will be able if the submitted article was already published or it was already stored in a repository. So from there, it's very important to highlight that the similarity indexes because it is much safer to check always the similarity uh, checking and of course the plagiarism issues because that is to avoid future problems that might be encountered soon. And from there, you will be able to know that if you have met the exact requirements. Let's say if the journal requires you to check if that is it meets the requirements. For example, the plagiarism check, for example, is less than 20%, so you would be able to know that your paper was able to meet it. And another is that for each instances of text which is being matched, be examined, of course, based on the intended. For example, if the institution or research company would like to establish this kind of system, they would be able to know the departmental guidelines and procedure for online submission. For example, okay, the archiving of words stored electronically, it's very important. That's why nowadays, even journal has their own archiving or repository. For example, if that is stored in SRN or other databases, so it's good because which means that your paper will be accessible to all databases that we all know. Those are part of our archiving or abstracting or indexing. Another is that when you interpret the similarity part, you always have to check. For example, because you know, guys, nowadays, uh, there are several factors that we need to consider the similarity, and part of it, of course, we are all aware that not all research institution has their own capability to interpret the similarity report. And part of it, you should be able to, as a protocol, to scan submissions for plagiarism check so that if the paper has already been published, you are already aware that you need to decline on it or reject the paper because that is to avoid, of course, quality standard. Of course, if we will be able to have that kind of system, so it means that it will apply on your part, of course. Another, uh, it will be recorded on the database of a particular similarities. And of course, what you are seeing in your screen right now, it matches overview or an 89%, which is this good example. That means that you have to fix it. Okay, so that's the reason why.
Prof, your mic is mute, please.
If you're sorry for that, if your uh, paper met the required or more than the submission, so it will be rejected or it will be declined. So you need to revise it again. So it's very important to always check what what is the meaning of green, what's the meaning of yellow, orange, and red. So which means it has a corresponding value. For example, if the paper was already accepted, the Turnitin similarity must be less than 10% or 20%. So it will show that the paper is original and authentic. And from there, you will be able to know that your processes is also aligned with that. So not only as a researcher, but as many factors. And then, of course, the color of the report icon indicates that the similarity of the paper will be based on the amount of matching and similarity that was uncovered. So which means that it's very important to document everything, even if it's a paper-based or put an online archiving of your uh, research. So it's very important to document from time to time. Okay, so you have that. So how this original report works, of course, it is acceptable that turn it in procedure for 7 score is lower. Okay, so which means that you need to find out things which is very important and to know the possible system that they're doing. Okay, so part of that, uh, so we have the indications. For example, what is a good similarity score? It should between 0 to 5, ranging from that. So it will reflect that the paper is already been done, it's already uh, scattered in all the areas. So it's very important to check it from time to time. And then help teachers quickly access authenticity because if you're using Turnitin, just like what I'm saying to you, Doc, it is very important to check first because guys, there's a lot of researchers that they keep on saying that we are a researcher, but they do not engage with any kind of research related matters. It's really a good opportunity, just like for our hosts in other government, that we can do it in a way that we do not violate laws. Okay, so it's very important to have that from time to time. So part of it, of course, is that we can prevent misinformation. Okay, just like what we're doing in the journal, if the paper has already been submitted, so we have to check all the aspects, the submitted publications, the journals, the schools to look for database or magazine because he has a lot of papers. Okay, just check by Turnitin also. Then part of it, the sanitary report is produced, demonstrating the degree of resemblance between that. So it is very important uh, to look for a particular place. You can talk each other. Okay, and then part of it, lower similarity, which means that if the paper receives a lower similarity, which means that is a good part. For example, that is zero similarity, so which means that uh, he was able to meet the requirements of what their group wants to do with it. Okay. Then of course for the high stake similarity, it's very important to check the overall just like what I'm saying to you. Then always check if that matches the other things that I have here. So it's very important to do it and then turn it in similarity how much is much too much. Okay. So this turn it in or this paper uh, can be scanned to the plagiarism check and then from there you can set standard. For example, if you want to set it 20%, it is really okay. So part of it depends, for example, on what type of journal are you using, and of course, for example, in other European countries, they usually accept less than 10%. In Scopus or Web of Science, majority of them accepts less than 20% or less than 10%. Okay, so those are the best practices that we can uh, have or provide. So part of it, of course, the Trinity similarity varies from one university to another, so which means that it can be used for a particular university-wide use. Okay, so part of it also, uh, it's very important to rewrite. There's an expert, so that once they have done it, we can make a continuous follow-up, of course, to our administration, and they will action on it. Okay, so another is that it can add or remove words instead of replacing to do with other things. So those are the basic requirements that we need to do. Removing unnecessary words is also good. or anything, so as long as it uh, matches. So another part of the publication process is, of course, before we submit, we always have to uh, check, okay, the target of your research and the high impact factors. Okay, so with that, in the academic publishing, they are aiming high. Means of selecting a target uh, recipient, which is not really good. It's very important to go along with the process. And of course, ways to measure impact. So the H-index and index to qualify individuals, scientific research output, which has been there, and uh, part of it, it is the process whereby the impact or quality an article is assessed by counting the number of times the other authors mentioned in their work. So it's very important to set standard based on the uh, uh, pay art that which is being done, and then part of it they're using tools. For example, we have uh, governments that can help them, or public sector which is can also help them. So compliance is that it's up to you on how you deal with it or how you link with it. Then part of it, it's very important to always check the title of your study because it will reflect to your personality as a researcher, as a reader, or as a student. Keywords are an essential part of the producing the article, so which means that it is already there and we need to fix things, which is very important. Okay, so of course, part of the introductions you need to follow certain system that they have. You need to continue with them, and then that's it. Okay, but those are only basic group. Okay, then of course introduction plays a vital role, and methods usually part of it based on my own experience. Sometimes looking for a particular reference that you will be able to go there. Okay, so part of it we always have to check, for example, the detailed part of what before we have to submit it. So those are the basic structure of the paper. So we also have the result and discussion. So part of it, the results and discussion may be combined, of course, in a single subsections, and then from there it would be easier for us to sell it. So of course, that's also a conclusion which is also applied to the references citation. References citation should be well balanced, current, and relevant, and other factors that may able to give impact. So we also have APA and 7 years. So what's the difference? Of course, part of it usually you can uh, participate on that, and then I think it's up to him on what will be the next project. And when we compare on that, we always have to check always. Okay, so key challenges of Iglas, of course, in the publications right now, we always have to check if they use this words, so we have to correct it. And of course, citations plays a vital role. Of course, so the more that you have more citations in your article, so which means you will be able to be invited to other countries as part of the growing industries in uh, research. Okay. And another is that when writing a research paper, so we have to check with other requirements. So part of it, writing a research article, of course, the process of moving from one idea to another to publish uh, manuscript that which is can be used here in this shrine. So it's very important to know everything and determine the authors when designing a research project. We recommend that you should be hands-on always. check it. Okay, and then you have already seen this part. So it's very important to know everything. And then start writing before the experiments go done. You have to check always. And then, of course, decide if it's time to publish. So you can look for an article which is really indexed in that journal. Because sometimes they will just uh, inform us that this campus is not already good, but things goes uh, okay. So, so part of it, which can be determined the basic format. These are three basic formats for review and other factors, so which means that can help those particular system. And then so once we select a journal, we always have to check and do something about it. For example, if they uh, do not, if they want to check if the journal is uh, peer reviewed or uh, other factors, we may have to consider it as part of legalizing everything. Okay? And then language is also plays a vital role because in the international journal, we usually use language as part of the system. Okay? So we also have some part of the uh, things that they want to emphasize. For example, if you're a scholar, you will be in charge of this one. Okay? This way. And of course, part of it, for example, if you go to a scholar, usually it can give you the matrix or summary of the reports, which is if you have reached the part that you have already conducted uh, this kind of extension, then who knows? It will be published in one of previous or reputable journal. And again, another, there is some cases that why it is better than Google search because you could conducted several uh, questions several times that you go there, then from there you will be able to know which is really good and better. Okay, I think it is very important always to check the reputability of the journal, the key. Sometimes they can also request those things, which is very important. And how does Google Scholar work? Of course, when you use Google Scholar, it is very important to check if the publication is already there, and sometimes it can be used as a part of the ranking system, which is usually it can be ranked based on the citations that they have. And an increasing popular article database right now is Google Scholar because of its features that they can also be used. In part of it, you should always check some limitations, not including a list of journals, so it can be include or it can be accepted without any excuse me peer review system because on my part of the journal we usually do the ethics of research. We accept, we follow certain guidelines which can be used later. Then there are three tips for using Google Scholar effectively. Usually, uh, Google Scholar will return to all factors and social beneficiaries, and then part of it that we usually take a look at the part that we see to it that our articles can be selected in a Google Scholar or other areas because of the indexing, and then part of it that don't ever pay for an article which is not really good on your side. For example, if you're going to leave it, your money is uh, will not will also be put into uh, questions. It's very important to clear everything and know everything the requirements that they are going. So maybe those are the first part that we need to consider. And then use the cited by feature, which is can be seen by Google in the Google Scholar. if you want to cite that article. So it's up to you. Okay, so uh, those are basic things that we need to comply, and then regard for it, and then uh, I think on my side as a researcher, it's very important to look always the reliability of the paper, because sometimes even if you extend it, but if you don't have a protection on your ceilings, it will be a big disadvantage on parts. So it's very important that they want to fix it so they can uh, pay for this one. Okay, so why do Google Scholar not find my research paper? So maybe it is still under layout, because right now it's uh, Sunday that we need to follow, and then part of it it's essential to be aware that the indexing of publications and other citations have already been uh, transferred, and then you can easily talk to them. Okay, so it's very important to do these things from prompt and top to up and other things that we need to follow. So we already have the association generator that can help easily our market. So this here is a good example of a Google Scholar which can be cited. Okay, so these are only basic. So we have these things. The grammar tutor can do things which is also part of the system. Okay, so maybe you can ask them. You can write a letter which is questioning them on the authenticity of a particular paper. So this citation also plays a big role. Then interpreting the similarity report using the environment. So part of it, uh, it is scheduled for July uh, move in our part. So it's very important to check first. Okay, check first all aspects that it might be able to her teams. Okay, it's a basic thing. Okay. Of course, the color of the passport is green because it has a main uh, agenda or things that we need to comply. So those are very important things that we need to set, and these are examples that we can use as a where we are getting all. Okay, so it's very important to check always. For example, the paper reaches matches within those hours, so it's okay. So I think with that, uh, that would be all on my part, sir, on how the originality report works. So it's very important to always check the similarity indexing and check the history and other factors of the journal so that you will not be lured by any scammers. So I think it's very important to do those things hand in hand. So with that, thank you for inviting me, sir. So I think that would be all on my side, on my part. So thank you for inviting me and giving me the chance again to give this particular topic. So that would be all, Doc. Thank you, and good evening once again from the Republic of the Philippines. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you very much, Prof. I really enjoyed once again this session with you, and from right from the beginning, I knew that you will be discussing wonderful stuff with us, and it was very much evident from your presentation and wonderful content. I love the idea you talked about the wonderful start regarding how the similarity index is important, and I love the idea of even letting our audience know regarding what are the different colors: the green, the blue, the orange, and the red. what does it indicate. I think these kind of things are really the eye opener for the new researcher, that how can they check their similarity index, what are the different percentages that are being acceptable range and that are not acceptable, and what are the different differences among them. And then very nicely you talked about the publication, what we need to do and what is actually impact factor, and how do we calculate. And I love the idea you incorporate a lot of wonderful things regarding the citation, the references, which is very important. Mostly the people, they are confused in the APA style, even that there are different citation style, that what kind of style should they follow and what are the different things which needs to be considered. And you have even not talked about the Google citation, but you showed the websites, how can they generate even the Google citation. I think these kind of things are very much important, and these are the things which needs to be considered and understood as a beginner researcher. So, what was the aim of the this webinar? That we could provide them the opportunity to learn about these basic things, and you did a fantastic job while letting them know all these things in just in half an hour, which was great thing. And I know you are a very wonderful person, and the time management, whenever we do a session with you, we always see one thing, that you always complete your wonderful content and presentation within due time, which is the great time management technique. So I think this is not only regarding the research, this is regarding all the wonderful things like explanation, illustration, and demonstration, which was great. So thank you very much for such a wonderful presentation. And now there are few questions which are waiting in a way so that you could answer them. So should we start with the first question, please? Yeah. Okay, Prof, they want to ask that thank you for your wonderful presentation. They want to ask that what are the potential consequences of neglecting to check the similarity index before submitting research article? Yes, please.
When you forgot to check that do that process, definitely your paper might be declined for submission. So you need to obviously check the requirement for particular journal, but we're going to process it. Definitely one activity of one particular you will be banned because of what you have done. It's better to to look for other options.
Yes,
That would
wonderful.
be
So, yeah, that could be the test rejection for their publication, because the similarity index it depends on. Thank you. And now another very interesting question they want to ask. They want to ask regarding that. Prof, can you just explain us which are some commonly used similarity index tools or software that the different teachers use? Yes, please.
with that. You can use software for similarity index, for example. Uh, a may we can use, for example, an open access which is indexed in a highly uh, impact factor journal, which is, for example, in scope. So it can be resubmitted to other as long as you have met the requirements. Okay, so that's it.
Thank you very much, Prof. And one another interesting question they want to ask that, Prof, would you like to explain us the role of collaboration and networking opportunities with the established researcher? Do these kind of things help us while publishing in high impact journals? Yes, please.
Of course, the answer there is the biggest ways we will be able to help our economy in our barangay. It's a big opportunity, a big help for us to do those activities and shared resources.
Yeah, true, very true. Thank you, Prof. And now another interesting question. I think that is very much pertinent. They want to ask that, Prof. You talked about the similarity index and the plagiarism. Don't you think it is also included from ethical perspective, that we should consider ethical consideration and we should not be copying it from somebody else's text? Your opinion on that? Yes, please.
So I think it's a case to case based on that part. That's why, on my part, it's very important to uh, check things is aligned to the following plans and programs. So
Yeah,
we better have to check everything
true.
to
Very
be
true.
verified inside it.
Yes, Prof. And now one last question, which is regarding, they want to ask that, Prof, I believe that publishing in high index journal can contribute towards the visibility of the researcher. So do you recommend the same, that should we be publishing in high impact journal just because we have more visibility in the research world? Yes, please.
It's important to collaborate in your team so that once you do that, definitely uh, our process cannot be published in the said paper, annual paper. So it's very important to know everything.
Yeah. Yes, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof, once again. And I think that brings us to the end of the session. And you know very well that at the end of the session, we ask our each guest regarding their message to the world. Now, this time, what would be your message to the world as a speaker, author, teacher, researcher, trainer, learner, professional, and educator? Yes, please.
Okay, so just what I want to say is that always have patience and determination on what you are doing. So uh, that's it.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Dedication, persistence, consistency, and then you can win the minds and hearts of the people by doing whatever you are doing in a great way. So I believe that this is the great thing, that we should be doing whatever we are doing with the our full efforts, with the consistency and persistence. Thank you, Prof. And to the audience, please do follow our distinguished guest speaker through his research work, and you can email him for future learning and guidance. He is very generous and always ready to help the people. Moreover, wonderful explanation and powerful content which the great speaker has already elaborated will help you to learn and develop your understanding regarding the plagiarism and how to publish in high impact journals. So that's all we have time for today. And then thank you once again, Prof. Dr. FROILAN MOBO. And I would like
Thank
to
you.
thank our audience who
Thank you.
joined us. If you have any additional question about information shared today, please email us. I'll connect with you directly. Thank you all for your support and liking our session. Stay tuned as many sessions are on the way. Please do not miss any session. And next session, take care of yourself. Bye bye.